Hello everyone, Jen here. Welcome back to The Sims 4 speed build. This is part 3 of Hawthorn Manor Apartments, where I am making a save file, not half of which I just said made any sense because I used all the wrong words. In my defense, I have a concussion, so we'll get to that in a minute. But this is an apartment build for Forgotten Hollow in The Sims 4 Vampires. And I was, for one, glad when 4 Rent came out so that we could expand these smaller worlds significantly. I still kind of wish that we had mixed lots. So, like, either residential with a community type or a commercial type lot, or multiple commercial type lots on one lot. Right now we can kind of do that with a few different things. You're just not going to get the NPCs that show up for each of those places, but you could have a spa and then put a gym and salon and pool area all in there. You're just not going to get the NPCs for each of the different areas like you would if you could designate those areas as this is the pool area, this is the gym area, and then the fitness instructor NPC would show up in the gym area type of thing, you know what I mean? But you can somewhat do that with community lots. I just wish it was more official and you could actually designate them like you can apartments so that the NPC characters would show up to those lots. The one that I know of that really works the best is if you have dine out, you can have a separate restaurant and bar on one lot because the NPCs all show up for those two separate things and you can actually make them look like separate places on one lot. Anyways, I'm just glad to have 4 Rent for now. Maybe that'll be something we'll get in the future, mixed use or whatever lots. The idea of having apartments or homes with a business or whatever is great. I would love to have that, but more so I would just love to be able to stick more than one community lot together on one lot, if that makes sense. Then you could really expand these smaller town worlds and really have a lot of different things in them. But for now, I'll take what we can get, and that is apartments. And I did use this shell for another build on my channel called Club Red, a nightclub for vampires. I like Club Red. I think it's a really cute idea and everything. But once I got building it, I realized that I liked this shell for something else better. And if I really love this shell a lot. I built it. It's my own shell. And I worked really hard at it, and I'm really proud of it. And so I wanted to use it in my save file, but I didn't want to use it as a nightclub in my save file. Hence the building of the apartment building. I thought it was perfect to break up into 3 pieces and have 3 different families living here so that we could fit more Sims into this little world here. So yeah, that's kind of the general story behind this build. So back to my concussion, I recorded the part 2 voiceover for this build a little over 12 hours after I got a concussion. So I was kind of a little bit all over the place, and honestly, I still am. Like, generally my voiceovers tend to be rambly, and I get a little lost in thought and confuse myself and forget what I'm saying and all those things. But I think it's particularly bad right now. Like, I haven't had to re-record a voiceover this many times in a long time. I've gotten pretty good at being able to just keep going, and this time I'm on like my, I don't know, 15 or 16th recording of this voiceover because I just can't do it. So the long and short of it is I ate something I shouldn't have on Sunday. I became very, very ill, and I basically ended up kind of irritating or triggering my vagus nerve. This happens to me relatively frequently-ish, a couple of times a year maybe. And I just have a very sensitive vagus nerve, and so I ended up passing out. I bumped my head. I don't think it's as bad of a concussion as my previous concussion in 2019, where I was feeding my dog, and when I went to stand up, because you have to bend over to fill the food dish or whatever. Well, when I went to stand up, I lost my balance and fell backwards and slammed the back of my head into my large, heavy wood dining table. And I moved that dining table like 3 inches backwards just with the power of my head slamming into it. So that was a pretty bad concussion. I was pretty sick. I could not play Minecraft for something like 6 months after that. I could only play Planet Zoo after about a month or two. And I had to slowly get back into playing The Sims, and I couldn't do any building. I think it was like 3 or 4 months before I could build, because anytime I would rotate the screen, I would get dizzy. That was a rough concussion. This one doesn't seem to be as bad. I have some dizziness. My biggest issue is that I just have a massive headache basically all the time. And it definitely gets worse when I'm using this computer versus, say, like my laptop, or when I'm doing something like this versus just passively watching a TV show or a YouTube video or whatever. The headache gets pretty bad. The first, I don't know, 10 recordings of this voiceover, I actually did less than 48 hours after my concussion, and it was causing me such a massive headache that I could not think straight. I could not get a solid, coherent thought out without confusing myself and getting completely lost and forgetting everything. So yeah, it's been a rough week, but thankfully it seems like a fairly mild concussion, and so I think it's not gonna be too much of a problem like it was in 2019. I don't know if I should be going live or not though, so I might not this week, and maybe try a couple of short live streams next week. I know it always seems like something, right? But being live is so much more work than recording, well, other than recording this video, because I've done the voiceover like 15 times. But being live is just, it requires so much more energy. I'm afraid that that's going to give me a massive headache and make me sick. And then, I've been dealing with tummy issues, which was sort of the underlying issue that caused me to become so sick in the first place. My underlying tummy issues that triggered this whole mess in the first place. But yeah, anyways, that's what I'm dealing with this week. I know it seems like just a never-ending thing of medical stuff. Trust me, I know. I've lived this way my whole life. I am just as tired of it as everybody else is. Of course, that's just for right now. It's been a rough few months, and so I'm just kind of burnt out and exhausted by all the medical stuff. When things settle down and I'm feeling a little bit better, I won't be as annoyed by it all anymore because I'll be able to live a relatively normal-ish life for a few months and it'll be fine again. But for now, I'm annoyed by all of it. So, also, I'm really sorry about how raw my voice has been lately. I can only do recording really early in the morning and really late at night usually. I mean, I guess I could do some recording in the middle of the day, but I've been basically working on a schedule where I'm recording the voiceover the same day I'm uploading the video, and it takes a while to render the video, and then it takes a while for YouTube to process the video. And so I have to do the voiceover really early in the morning so that there's plenty of time in between to both render and upload and process the video so that it can be available by mid-afternoon. That seems to be, I've been testing times out a lot, and that seems to be my best time to upload is around 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I've tried 10 o'clock in the morning a few times, but that seems to be really, really bad for my videos for some reason. I tend to get the majority of my views later at night or very, very early in the morning. But once it hits around like 9, 10 o'clock on my time, the views basically stop until later in the afternoon. So between my recording schedule and that, I'm kind of pressed for time here in my recording. So my voice has been sounding particularly raw lately. I'm very sorry about that. So I know I wasn't completely coherent and kind of all over the place with part 2 explaining of the family and everything. To sort of put it succinctly, I know for sure that I'm gonna have obviously one sim in that apartment. She is an older adult or younger elderly sim, and she's done it all, seen it all. She's been a vampire for a while, and now she's just kind of living a boring, normal Sims life for a while. The idea being she doesn't know what she wants to do with her future because she's done and seen it all. So she kind of doesn't know where to go. Basically, she's having the vampire version of a midlife crisis, is what it is. And she doesn't know where she wants to go in the future with her life. That's what I was trying to explain. Also, I was trying to explain that I have no idea if she should have a partner or if she should be single. Initially, she was going to have a partner, but then I got thinking about it and I thought, it could be interesting to do this as a single vampire sim as well, especially with Love Struck coming out soon. It could be an interesting storyline to have an older vampire sim looking for love, so that's a possibility as well. But for this family, I have a whole story in mind. The first family was just a vague kind of basic sense of the family, and then the second one was even more vague and just kind of a general idea of a single sim. But for this family, I very much have an in-depth, full-on story in my head about what this family is like. So the parents are older young adults or younger adult sims. Maybe they got turned right around their birthdays or something. and they decided they haven't been vampires for long, but they've been vampires long enough that they've decided that now it's time to settle down and maybe start a family potentially. And they had a child, a son, and he is also a vampire. However, in The Sims 4, children aren't like they don't they age. They're basically regular Sims all the way up until they reach young adulthood, and then they stop aging and they get all their powers of whatever occult they are and stuff. So children and teenager Sims, they may be labeled as occult Sims, but they act as normal Sims, if that makes sense. So he is technically a normal Sim as a teenager, but he will come into all of his vampire powers and he will stop aging once he reaches young adulthood, and he's not happy about this. He does not like the idea of this at all. He does not want to be a vampire. He does not want his parents to be a vampire. He has nothing against vampires. He has lots of friends who are vampires. This is not an ancestral heritage thing for them, though, because they're relatively new to being vampires. No one else in their family has ever been a vampire before, and so this is new to the family, and he does not like it. He really absolutely does not like being a vampire. He doesn't want to live endlessly. He doesn't want his parents to live endlessly. He wants them all to grow old and experience life and not have vampire children or anything like that. And so he wants to take the cure so that he does not come into his full vampire powers as an adult. However, his parents are worried that if he takes the cure, he might regret it and change his mind later. So they want him to wait until he becomes a young adult, come into his vampire powers, and then decide whether he wants to stay a vampire or not. However, he is their only child, and they love him and are devoted to him and want to do whatever will make him happy. And as such, they are willing to take the cure with him and all become normal Sims again, if that's what he so chooses. They still want him to wait until he becomes a full vampire as a young adult, just to make sure this is the right choice. But if it is, and it's really what he chooses, then they are willing to go that route with him, because they don't care. Like, again, this is not their ancestral heritage. They are relatively new to being vampires, and while they have a lot of friends and stuff in the vampire world that they absolutely love and adore, their son comes first, and doing what he wants and what's right and best for him is more important to them. And it's not like they can't stay friends with the friends they've made in the vampire world, because they absolutely can. So, they could have the best of both worlds. They could still be part of the vampire world and have the friends and whatnot, friendships that they've made and whatnot over the years, while living a normal Sim life. So here we're just finishing up the outside of the build and kind of doing a little bit of landscaping. I moved the mailboxes closer to the walkway, and then I put some trash cans out there and did a little decorating of the porch. Not much, because it is an apartment building after all. So I did a little decorating of that. And then being that there is going to be at least one child in this building, I figured let's put a swing set or something in the back for them to play on. So I did that. I am considering downloading the tool mod and adding some things around the worlds in various places that aren't typically there, but I don't know how that messes with things or doesn't mess with things. And would you guys like to see that? So my thinking is I would keep this swing set here, but I would also maybe add a few things for children in that little park plaza area in the center as well, just to maybe make this little town a little bit more family friendly and child friendly and whatever, because even vampires have children. But you let me know what you think down in the comments down below, and let's get into that walkthrough finally, shall we? And here it is, completely finished. I know I'm tooting my own horn a lot, but I really like this build. I would even be willing to use it as just like a manor, a house, a single family house as well. I just love this build so much. I think it turned out so great. But I also love having it as a small little apartment building for Forgotten Hollow as well. I think it just fits in so well here, and it looks so pretty in this area. I just love everything about it. Okay, so you saw the front yard and the porch. Let's get into, I guess, the common area where the staircase leading up all 3 floors. So this is the front common area. And this one does lead, like I said, all the way up to the 3rd floor apartment. So let's go into the first apartment here. It's got an entryway hallway that kind of is grand, but small grand for an apartment. Then you have the kids' bedroom here, right at the front. Pay no attention to the ceiling. Those half circle rooms are such a mess. They're so glitchy. Then you have a very good sized living room here. This family is very into music and stuff. So we go back out into the hall / entryway, and you have the kitchen. Full kitchen, because the kids don't act as vampires until they reach young adulthood. Also, your vampire sims might have guests or friends that are not vampires, and they might get hungry for regular food. Or it might be a mixed family of vampire and non-vampire. So, full kitchens, and then here is the bathroom for all their bathrooming needs, whatever they might need to do. And then here's the adult or primary bedroom. Nice, cozy, dark spot for the adults to rest and relax after a long day with the kiddos. Just read. This family also likes to read a lot, but you know, when you're a vampire and you have endless time available to you, what else are you gonna do besides spend a lot of time reading and all that kind of stuff? This is the back entryway, and back here I put a little utility room with a washer and dryer. Now, it's not directly accessible to the upstairs apartment. They would have to go out through the front door and come in through here. But I mostly put the washer and dryer in there for looks. I didn't include any hampers. That's the little backyard, by the way. I didn't include any hampers because the washer and dryer is mostly for looks here, just to give a little realism to the apartment building. You could always add a washer and dryer to the top floor apartment in like the kitchen or somewhere, so they don't have to go outside and around to use the other washer and dryer. But let's start here. Yes, the ceiling is messed up. I do go back and fix it later, so they will have a roof over their bed. But that was the adult primary bedroom. This is the 2nd level, so Here's the kitchen again. Very simple. But this doesn't have it has a second bedroom, but it's not a bedroom. It's an office in this one. So we'll look at that in a second. Here's that living room. Pretty simple. No TV. This vampire sim is an educator and is mostly only into reading, whereas the family downstairs is into it all: music, reading, TV, everything. And then here's her office where she grades papers and does her work and stuff. She's got a little chess table here. And then we go up to the 3rd floor apartment through that front main common area again. And here we are heading up. Maybe. There we go. We're heading up. Here's these. I didn't do much with these spaces, and for some reason, once I got to this level, my screen was just zooming around all over the place. I don't know, it was kind of weird. But here's the living room, and yes, the ceiling is messed up on that circle area again. I do go back and fix it. They do have ceilings over those areas, I promise. And so let's head into the bathroom, double sink, tub and shower. And then this leads into the primary adult bedroom. Nice cozy bedroom for the adults. Not overly big, not as big as the other adult primary bedrooms in the other 2 apartments, but still fairly good size. That leads into the kitchen dining space, which then leads into the teenager's bedroom. A little bit smaller, but still plenty of space for him and his mess. I tried to, add a touch of realism. It's a teenager's room. And then we have the tower room, a little reading room right here with just a cozy spot to sit and read some books. I like it. I hope you like it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed this little series. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you feel compelled to do so, leave a comment. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.